Good evening. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Steven from Nigeria. It's a privilege to be on here today, and I want to say congratulations to you, every one of us on this Zoom call today, and also whoever gave you the link. I want you to say thank you and God bless you to that person, because it's an opportunity that that is one of its kind, and it's not something you see every day. And I also want to use this opportunity to thank Madam Bumi, because sometime last year she showed me this opportunity and my life has changed for good. You are seeing me this way because I'm on my way from a honorable's house who just bought like 3 of the products which we are going to be talking about very soon. From November last year to this time, it's like a miracle happened in my life. And that's why I want you to sit tight and listen to what we are going to be sharing with you today. Thank you so much. And sit tight, please. If you have your phone on, I think you should put it on mute. You don't need to allow anything to distract you this time and this minute. Thank you very much, Madam Bumi, and God bless you all.
Well, thank you so much, Stephen, for getting us started. Ladies and gentlemen, again, as Stephen said, my name is Bumi Moore. I have the privilege of being the first female global influencer in the United States for IXglobal. And the person who you are going to hear from today, the reason where I am is because this gentleman said yes to this opportunity. He was the one that ushered it into the United States. And from there, we've just been growing all over the globe. I am super excited about him being here with us today, because he's somebody, I say, I want to be like him when I grow up. He's making the money, but he's humble. He has a heart for people, and he is on a mission to share this information about IXglobal and the debt box with the world. Stephen has already told you that his life has been changed, and I know his story. And because Stephen said yes, he's not inflating anything. His life is absolutely being changed. And Stephen has a heart like mine. What he wants for himself, he wants for other people. And so, yes, he's spreading the word in Nigeria. A lot of you all are here from Nigeria. We have Uganda representing. We have Namibia. We have South Africa. We have the United States. We have Canada. So this is like a global call here. And we're here for a purpose, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce you to the world's greatest opportunity in the crypto space, in the home business space. And the gentleman who will be speaking to you today, he is my sponsor. So Travis Flaherty hails from Arizona. He is the number 3 earner. Some people think he's the owner. Number 3 earner in this company. And you see him on all the videos. He's the one in the hard hat standing in front of the oil wells, telling us how this is about substance, not speculation, tangibility, not hype. And so, Travis, thank you so much, because I know you care about our team in Africa. You care about its success, just as you care about the success of everyone everywhere. So we are so honored to have you here with us today, because you stay so busy and everyone's pulling on you. But I'm going to turn it over to you so you can greet everyone, share your screen, and show us what it is that we need to take advantage of.
Well, thank you so much for having me. First of all, Stephen, it's a pleasure and a privilege, and we're proud of you and your leadership. I want to say thank you to Bumi. Congratulations to you for being the first female global influencer in the entire company. And I hope everyone understands what a big deal that is. I'm grateful to be here today. And, I kind of go on heart and instinct and gut. And, you won't find one presentation that is the same as the next. I kind of just like to share from here. And today, I'm actually going to share just a little bit of my story before we get into this presentation, because I want you to understand that I didn't, sometimes when you see leaders in a company, you just assume that they've always been a leader and they've always been at the top. And that's not the case with me. First and foremost, I live here in Arizona with my beautiful wife of 23 years. We have 6 children, so a big family, and I just became a grandpa in the last month. So I am blessed and highly favored, and I'm grateful for that. I put my family first in everything that we do, and I love entrepreneurship. I believe that entrepreneurship is the new retirement plan. I believe that that is the key to being able to get back your time, to be able to do the things that you want to do rather than the things that you have to do. And so I've always been an entrepreneur. And, I was introduced to the network marketing industry almost 20 years ago. I'm coming up on my 20-year anniversary. And what I can tell you is, we started off in some very difficult circumstances. We came into this industry because of some challenges that we had experienced. My wife and I were entrepreneurs. We were involved in the real estate industry, and we lost everything. It was one of the most humbling experiences of my life. We were in a position where, we had 3 young children, 3 babies that were all in diapers at the time. And, the economy and the crash put us into a situation that we weren't expecting. And we lost, we had our vehicles repossessed from us. We were in a position where our electric and our gas got shut off in the middle of the winter living in Utah, and we were not able to pay to have our gas turned back on. So I remember at one point in time, we pretended we brought a tent into my bedroom, and we brought all kinds of sleeping bags in, and we told the kids that we were going to just have a little a little sleeping party, a little tent party in our room. But the reality was we were doing everything we could to keep them warm at night. I believe that we all go through these challenges and these circumstances in life to push us down a different path to exactly where we're supposed to be. Drop an I in the comments section if you know somebody that's going to go to bed tonight saying a prayer asking for financial solutions. I'd be willing to bet that every single person that's here right now knows someone that's going to go to bed saying a prayer. And I also believe that sometimes when you're going through those challenges, they can become a springboard to go and reinvent yourself, to go and do something new, something exciting, and ultimately go create your best life. And that's exactly what we did. My wife and I, we embraced the network marketing industry. We had been in the industry for a few years, and we had dabbled with it, and we had created a little bit of extra income for ourselves. But it's one thing to be in the industry or in a company, but it's another thing to have the company inside of you. And so we made some big decisions back in 2008 and 2009 that we were going to stop dabbling, that we were going to stop thinking small, that we were going to think bigger, faster, and we were going to go all in. And we did, and we haven't looked back since then. We've been full-time in the network marketing space ever since then. We started focusing on personal development and personal growth. And most importantly, we started focusing on the value that we could bring to the community, the value that we could bring to others. And so we started honing in on personal development and personal growth. And over the next 10 years, we were able to transform our lives, and in the process, meet some wonderful people around the world, and to be able to now be on a mission to be able to empower others, to be able to teach them and empower them with these opportunities to be able to change their lives. And I'm going to start off by saying this: there is no better opportunity on the planet right now to be able to transform your life, your circumstances, and your situation in a matter of a relatively short period of time. This is not get rich quick, but it is get rich possible. But it's going to require hard work and smart work and dedication and commitment. With this opportunity, I want you to know that there are these windows of opportunity in this industry that don't come along very often, and they don't stay open very long. But when they are open, incredible things can happen. You can accomplish in a 6-month period what it might normally take you in a 3 to 5 year period in another company. Our company right now is in momentum. We are the #1 momentum company in the world. One of my favorite mentors is a gentleman by the name of John Maxwell. And John Maxwell says that momentum is a networker's best friend. It amplifies everything. It turns the ordinary into the extraordinary. And right now, we have some tremendous momentum that's happening. And what's really exciting for many of you is some of these markets that I see here that are here with us today. We're just being born. We're just being born in your markets. It's kind of like where we were about 7 months ago. my wife and I first heard about this opportunity back in June. And at that time, we weren't necessarily looking for another opportunity, but I always say that I'm open-minded. A closed mind will never open new doors. And so I always keep my mind open to different opportunities. And when I first heard about this, IXglobal was in discussions with a company called Debt that you're going to be learning about today. And at the time, they were talking about creating a strategic partnership and introducing a product, a disruptive product that has never been done before. Now, many of you know that these are interesting times that we're living in. We here in the United States and ultimately around the world, we have entered into a recession and times are difficult. Consumer debt is at an all-time high. And I believe that this is a new world economy that we live in. And if we fail to adapt and we fail to innovate, we're going to continue to see people struggling and suffering. And so when I looked at this company and I looked at the products that they offered, for me, it was at first an opportunity for me to be able to put my money to work for me, to develop an additional income producing asset. As I started to get a little bit more and more acquainted with the company, I realized that we had something in our hands that not only would make a difference in my family's life, but we had the ability to go out and make a difference in thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of lives around the world. And one of the things that I love the most about the direct sales industry is that if you help enough people get what they want, you can have everything that you want in life. By going out and helping and empowering and really making a difference in other people's lives, you can change your life in the process. And isn't that a beautiful thing? It's the ultimate pay it forward model. And so with that, what I'd like to do is I'd like to introduce you to a company called IXglobal. And we're going to start there today. And then we're going to get in a little bit more into debt in the products that we currently offer. So before we get started today, what I'd like to say is that I am not a financial advisor. The information that I'm sharing with you today should not be construed as financial advice. This is for education purposes only. We strongly encourage you to do your own due diligence and do your own homework so that you can make a well-informed decision. If I cite any examples today, I want you to know that past performance does not guarantee future results. We do not offer any type of ROI or guarantees. What we do offer is we offer education, software, and hardware. That is what we do. So once again, do your own research. And with that, let's go ahead and jump right in today. So the mission and the vision of IXglobal is to innovate and inspire and impact your life and the lives of those that are around you. I believe that we all put off a vibration every single day. I've used this quote often, and I usually use it when Boomi's on the presentation because Boomi represents this to me. One of my favorite quotes is, "They knew who she was when she walked into a room." Have you ever been in a room before? Maybe it's just you're having lunch, or maybe you're in some type of a meeting, and you can just feel the presence of somebody when they walk in the door. You just feel their vibration and their energy, and they raise the energy in the room, right? And then on the contrary, sometimes you might have been in the same situation when someone came in and they've sucked the life out of the room, right? So I always say you want to be a thermostat, and you want to be the person that's controlling the temperature of the room. And what I love here is that we have an opportunity to be able to go out and truly make a difference and inspire positive change in the world when it's needed tremendously. IXglobal was founded by a gentleman by the name of Joe Martinez, who is our CEO and founder. He's all heart. I love Joe. I love his story. Comes from a very, very humble background. Talk about challenges. He lost both his mother and father within a period of 12 months in separate incidents. He lost them both violently at the age of 16 years old. And from that point forward, he was essentially on his own. And he's been able to turn himself into now owning one of the most successful companies in the direct sales industry today. That didn't happen by accident. Success it requires a commitment and a pursuit of constant pursuit of leadership. And Joe exemplifies that in every possible way. The company started off in 2020. They're headquartered in Salt Lake City, but the first market that they actually launched was in India. And the reason for that is because Joe had some network marketing professionals that he believed in, some people that he really had not had a tremendous amount of success up to that point, but he felt that they were the right people to launch the company with. And so he locked arms with a few of them, and they kicked the company off right at the peak of when COVID was starting. Not the best time to launch a company. And in that first year, they generated about $4.6 million in revenue, which is very respectable. They actually became one of the top 3 startup companies in the industry. And then in 2021, they grew to $22 million in revenue. They were voted on Business for Home as having one of the top compensation plans in the industry, one of the top startup companies, again, in the industry. And then going into 2022, folks, they generated over $206 million in revenue. So you think about that growth for a moment and you think about that momentum, and that is exciting. You know, I've been in companies before that are in momentum, and it's exciting. It's fun to be a part of the community. And I've also been a part of companies that are stagnant and there's nothing that's happening, and there's nothing harder than pushing that boulder uphill. And so for this company and the timing for each and every one of you, it could not be better. I've learned that if you can position yourself in the beginning stages with a company that has all of the signs of becoming one of the next giants in the industry, a tremendous amount of money that can be made. And right now, we absolutely are that company to be a part of. You know, if you look at what's going on in the world, times are changing, and you're seeing signs of that all around us. You know, I talk a lot about the banking system and the stock market. You know, first of all, the stock market last year lost $9 trillion. Retirees lost over $5 trillion last year alone. So let's talk a little bit about why we're starting to see things like this that are happening. First and foremost, you have, you know, an older generation. We refer to them here in the United States as baby boomers. You know, everybody came home from the war back in the 20s and 30s. They started having lots and lots of babies. And the baby boomers is what we refer to them as. And over the course of their lifetime, working lifetime, they were taught to save as much money as they can, put as much money away as they can, and they put a lot of money into the stock market. Well, what's happening is they're starting to reach an age where they are now pulling money out of the stock market. And if you understand markets and you understand when people sell, typically what happens to value. The more and more people that are selling, you start to see values that are going down. Now, over time, in the past, there were more people that were coming in that were continually contributing to the stock market. But now, for the first time, we're starting to see that there is more money that's coming out than that's coming in. And you have this next generation that's coming up. You know, my son is 22 years old. He refers to me as a boomer. And he says, Dad, you represent fiat currency. My generation represents cryptocurrency. They're not putting money in the stock market. They're buying Bitcoin. So we have we've come to a crux. And I always say that old ways will not open new doors. You know, if you look at what's happening with our dollar, and of course, the US dollar has an impact in whatever currency, you know, that you may be involved with around the world. We're seeing this happen all over the place. But what's happening is the value of the dollar is going down. You have our banking system that is essentially wrecking our savings. You go out and work hard, and you try and save as much money as you can, right? So that one day you'll be able to retire with a little bit of money in the bank. The problem is that these banks, they continue to print more and more money. And a lot of times they're just taking that money out of thin air. And as they continue to create and print more money into circulation, what does that do to the value of your currency? It brings that value down. And so unfortunately, what's happened in the United States is we've watched the dollar drop over 86% of its value since 1970. Now, why has that happened? The reason why is because prior to 1971, our government was not allowed to print a dollar unless it had the equivalent in gold. So it was actually backed by something. It had true value. But after 71, Richard Nixon, who was the president at the time, removed the gold standard. And since then, we've seen a massive decline in the overall of the value. And I'm just going to say this, you cannot outsave the declining value of your currency. And you cannot outsave the current inflation rates that are currently happening around the world. And so what we're finding is many people are looking for solutions. They're looking for alternative options. They're looking for those new ways. And I'm a big researcher. I love to research, I love to read, and I love to study trends. You know, a success formula that my dad taught me when I was a young man is to figure out where people are going and get there faster. Look at the trends. But don't just get there faster. Bring real world value and provide solutions to some of the biggest challenges. And let's talk about some of those trends for a moment. 12 years ago, Bitcoin was launched, and it kicked off this digital currency trend. And any time that there's a massive disruption in the way that things are done, typically it goes through a few different stages. The first stage is opposition. If you go back historically, you see opposition, and sometimes even violent opposition, because people don't like change. They get set in their ways. I remember when, cell phones were first introduced, and people were like, why would you want to have a cell phone that you carry around with you every day? I remember when the internet was first introduced, and people thought, well, what is this? Why would people want to get on an internet? And then I remember when, Amazon first came out, and then I remember when the computers, smartphones first came out. People thought, why would you want a computer on your phone? These are all examples of disruption that have absolutely changed the entire trajectory of the world that we live in today. And what's interesting is if you go look at the growth of cryptocurrency from the time that it launched, and you look at the growth of the internet when it first launched, and you look at the growth and you lay them over top of each other, you see almost the exact same growth pattern. What does that mean? 4% of the world today currently owns a digital currency wallet. 4%. You know what that's projected to grow to over the next couple of years? 10%. So we're seeing massive adoption that's happening. Blockchain technology has changed every aspect of business, and you have a choice. You can either be a pioneer, or you can be late to the party. But I'm going to tell you something. It's the pioneers that they always write about in the history books. One way or another, at some point, and I believe this, and this may even happen in my time, we will no longer utilize physical currency, fiat currency. I've already been to, many different resorts and places around the world that no longer even utilize fiat currency. Everything is digital. And so I look at that, and I look at cryptocurrency as a whole, and I recognize that that's where everything is going. But I also recognize that there are some challenges. Some of those challenges include, 97% of the coins and tokens that are out there today, these are coins that they have no utility. We call it utility. There's no purpose. There's no real world value behind them. I'm going to let you in on a belief of mine, and that is a true asset should not fluctuate 80% just because someone like Elon Musk tweets about it. There's a lot of manipulation that happens in cryptocurrency, and a lot of these projects, they're built on hype, not substance. And so with that, unfortunately, we see a lot of rug pulls. We see a lot of projects that, they're hyped up by celebrities or influencers that are tweeting about it. And ultimately, they go up for a short period of time. And then those that are holding all of those initial coins sell, and the bottom drops out. The company that I'm going to introduce you to here, Debt, and the product called XNode, is a solution to some of the greatest challenges that we face inside of the cryptocurrency space. They are the first company in the entire world to introduce digital currency that is backed by real world assets. Assets like commodities, for example, like oil or gold or natural gas, just to name a few. And I've always known that the moment somebody tokenized a commodity, fortunes would be made. Why do I say that? I've been involved in cryptocurrency now for 6 or 7 years. And, I was involved back in 2017 and 18 when Bitcoin was at an all-time high of $18,000, $19,000. And I remember that it dropped down to $3,000. And then I remember when Ethereum lost 92% of its value, and all the critics out there were saying, it's done, it's over, the bottom has dropped out. I told you so, right? Nothing like the I told you so people that love to come out of the woodworks anytime that cryptocurrency comes down. And at that time, I was saying something very important. And this is perhaps one of the most important things that I could share with you on this presentation today. And that is the decisions that you make in a down market, the coins that you accumulate during that same period of time, have the ability to be able to change your life and the ability for you to be able to create true wealth over the next 3 to 5 years. I'm going to say that again. The decisions that you make and the coins and tokens that you accumulate at that time during a down market have the ability to be able to absolutely transform your life and allow you to create true wealth over the next few years. And I was sharing that same message back then. People said, you're irresponsible. People were telling me that I can't believe you're telling people to go and buy. And a few years later, what happened? Bitcoin went to 69,000 and Ethereum went to over $3,000. I believe that we are in a very similar situation right now. But here's what's exciting. I've always known that the moment that somebody took an actual cryptocurrency and they backed it with oil or gold, the same way the dollar used to be backed by gold, now you have something tangible, right? Boomy said it earlier. I've been waiting for tangibility over hype. I've been looking for substance over hype, tangibility over speculation. And I found that with these X-Node projects. And that's the reason why I first started off as somebody that was acquiring and collecting licenses. And now I'm here sharing the message with you because I believe that this message needs to get out there because of the new world economy that we live in. So I want to introduce you to the Debt Council. Debt was founded, it's 15 years in the making. It was founded by Jason and Jake Anderson. We have both a physical side to our company and we have a digital side to our company, and they are balanced by each other. What they have done is they have taken the physical side. They have taken the 15 years that they have been involved in the mining industry. And when I say mining, I'm talking about physical mining industry. And they've been able to establish partners, oil partners, natural gas partners throughout the world. And we utilize those assets to be able to bring real world value to our currency. But there's something even more special that they did on the digital side. They introduced a software system that allows the average person to be able to mine through our software with our mining nodes. Now, node is a funny word. In cryptocurrency, if you're new to cryptocurrency, there's like a whole different kind of language here that you'll hear. And at first it may seem a little bit confusing, but it's actually relatively simple the way that our software system works. In the old days, people that were mining Bitcoin when it first came out, you had to have expensive equipment that typically had a shelf life of 12 to 18 months. You had to run it with a lot of electricity. You had to keep your house or your warehouse very, very cool. And it was a very complicated process. We've simplified that. So essentially all a node is it helps process transactions on the blockchain. That's it. It's a piece of software that connects to other nodes in the blockchain to create a network. And that network, all they're doing is they're validating transactions all day long. And those node holders are paid rewards. It's a very simple process. If you think about, if you have a debit card and you were to go use that debit card at a restaurant, you swipe that card, what happens? You wait about 30 seconds to a minute for an approval to come back. Well, what's happening? That transaction is going off into a third-party merchant somewhere. And that merchant, that processor has a job. That job is to validate the transaction, make sure that you have money in your account. And then they tell the retailer that transaction is solid. Well, in cryptocurrency, you don't have banks involved in the middle. That's the whole point. We wanted to get the banks and the government out of the middle of our transactions. It's a peer-to-peer network. And so blockchains, they have a different process for validating transactions, and it requires these nodes. And what's exciting is for the first time, we, the average person, can be a part of that process, and we can generate daily rewards through that process. So it's very simple. Number one, you start off by purchasing a mining license. And then from there, it gets activated. Once it gets activated, you start to earn rewards daily through the mining process. You can literally watch them rolling into your back office every few seconds, every single day. And then from there, step 3, you have a couple of different options. You can withdraw your rewards and redeem their value, redeem them for their current value. There's no hold period. There's no requirements or lockdown periods. Every one of our projects has 100% liquidity. Or option number 2 is you can actually take those coins, those tokens, and you can swap them for other projects that we have within our ecosystem. Or number 3, and this is what I do, you can hold on to those tokens for potential upside growth. And so you have some different choices and ways that you can get involved. Now, people ask me all the time, what's the difference? Like, what really makes you different from everybody else? And it really comes down to tokenomics. Tokenomics is a fancy word for economics, and it comes back to simple supply and demand. if you think about it, if you have a high supply and a very low demand, what typically is happening to price? Price is flat or it's going down, right? Because there's very little demand and there's a lot of inventory. But on the other hand, if you have a low supply and a high demand, what happens to price? We've seen that here in the United States recently within our real estate. There was a very, very big demand. There was a low inventory. So what happens? The price shoots up. At Christmas time, there's always a few toys that are out there that are the hot toys that everybody's trying to get their hands on, and they usually sell out. And so what happens? The demand goes through the roof. There's a low inventory, and all of a sudden you start to see these things being sold online for 2 to 3 times their value. Same concept. It's supply and demand, basic economics. So how are we different? First and foremost, every single one of our tokens that we introduce is backed by real world assets, underlying projects. We partner with all kinds of different companies that are out there. And why do we partner with them? Why would they partner with us? Because we bring a tremendous amount of value through our technology that helps them to save a lot of money. And what happens is every single month, we receive royalty payments from these different partners. I'm going to use oil as an example. We have many different oil partners around the world. Every month, we receive a royalty that comes to us. Now, what do we do with that money? We take 50% of that revenue and we buy up tokens that are in circulation and we send them to what's called a burn wallet. A burn wallet means that you'll never see those tokens again. They can never be used. If you follow Bitcoin, one of the things that brings value to Bitcoin has been their tokenomics. Every 4 years, they have something called a halving event. What they do is they take half of the coins that are currently in circulation and they send them to a burn wallet. So what's happening? You have a growing demand and you have a constantly reducing supply of tokens that are in circulation. What has happened to the value of Bitcoin every time there has been a halving? In fact, historically speaking, if you study the crypto industry, it's kicked off a bull run every single time there has been a Bitcoin halving. The next halving is in December of 2023. So in the same exact way, we're taking the royalties that are coming in from our partners, and we're taking 50% of that revenue, and we're buying up coins that are in circulation, and we're sending them to a burn wallet. So what does that do? The overall objective, the overall utility is to reduce volatility in the market. And over time, as those burns get larger and larger and larger, the overall goal is to be able to drive potential growth in the value of those tokens. Now, some of you might say, well, this all sounds great, but wait a second, how do I know that they really do have oil fields, that there really are assets that are out there? So currently right now, we have 17 wells that are currently online with another 100 that are in process. These wells are anywhere from Nevada to Texas to Nebraska throughout Ghana. And we have, for each one of our projects, we have what's called a trust. It's essentially a trust that's set up for each coin. And the revenue that comes in from each one of our partners goes into that trust. And the trust has one responsibility: to buy up coins and send them to a burn wallet. That's it. That's all they're doing. If you look over here, this is our first project, Black Gold. We just received the first onshore contract in Ghana's history, which is a huge deal. If you look at the map of Ghana and you go down to the south, and you'll see that there are some of the largest oil companies in the world, BP, Exxon, Shell, that have spent billions to build these massive, massive floating oil rigs that are out there in the ocean right off of the coast of Ghana. Now, why do they do that? Because they know that there is oil in that region. We just received the first and only onshore license in the country's history. Now, what are we going to do? We don't necessarily go and drill holes. We will award that contract to someone like BP or like a Shell, and then we will receive royalties. In the same way that Uber is now the largest transportation company in the world that has no cars, or VRBO is the largest vacation company in the world that has no homes, we are the largest mining company in the world that has no oil rigs. So we create royalties. That's what we do. We also have natural gas. If you've looked at the price of natural gas over the last few years, you've seen that it's soaring. And where there's oil, there is often natural gas. And so we have projects that support our NatG token, which is a newer token that we introduced mid last year. We have projects that are backed by gold, not gold that's sitting in a mine that has never been mined before. We actually have gold bullion sitting in a vault. And we have a very conservative project that's backed by that gold. You know, I've had a chance, if you look in the bottom left-hand side, that little small group there is me, and I had a chance to go out and visit, you know, over 100,000 square acres, a gold concession that we actually have the rights to, and get a chance to be able to mine gold firsthand. We also have Grow, which is a fantastic project that's backed by high-yielding agriculture. And we also have aluminum, where we're partnered with one of the largest bauxite mining companies, the Ghana Bauxite Corporation, in the world. So these are just some examples. Now, what is the utility? What is the purpose? The purpose is to reduce volatility by supporting the tokens with real projects and real commodities. Now, let me ask you a question. If the industry, if the cryptocurrency industry is going to grow from 4% to 10% over the next couple of years, do you think that people would be more inclined to continue to buy meme coins and pump and dumps and chasing these coins that have no value? Or do you think that they're going to be more inclined to start getting involved with projects that have substance and tangibility? To me, that is going to be the catalyst. I always ask myself, you know, I understand the trends, but what's going to be the driving catalyst that moves the needle from 4% to 10%? Folks, that's it. It's substance over hype. It's tangibility over speculation. That is going to give the masses the comfort that they're looking for to be able to continue to enter into this space. And that is exactly what Debtbox has done. You know, one of the questions that I get often is, well, how do you provide value to these companies? We have a token called Explorer. It's backed by satellites that we currently have that are in space. Our partner, our satellite partner, is one of the largest satellite companies in the world. And they've been named in everything from Forbes to Financial Times to TechCrunch. And we have strategically partnered with them. And our technology has the capability of being able to scan the Earth and provide 3D images that allow us to pinpoint exactly where a commodity is in the ground, like oil or like natural gas. Now, why would that be of value to, let's say, an exploratory company? Because they spend hundreds of millions of dollars a year drilling holes, to which as much as 50% of the holes that they drill are actually dry, trying to pinpoint where oil is in the ground, trying to pinpoint where natural gas is, or where to enter into the chamber to maximize the extraction process. Do you think that a technology that could show them exactly where the oil or the gas or the aluminum or anything else that's on a periodic table, because all of those elements essentially have frequencies, and all we're doing is we're reading the frequencies. You know, BGLD, again, 17 wells. This is a great project. It was our proof of concept project. We launched it about a year ago. The success of Black Gold was unprecedented at the time, especially when you're in the middle of a crypto winter where all of the coins are going down. This particular project shot up over 120,000%, created over 1,000 seven-figure portfolio holders. Why? Because it was backed by something real. It was backed by something that was in high demand. You know, I'll give you an example of how our scan technology works. So when we were first getting started, you know, you had a lot of, again, you get a lot of skeptics, a lot of critics out there that say there's no way that your technology can do what you say that it can do. So we had to prove it. So we had a company, a smaller company, exploratory company, that brought us in and said, look, we have a site that we have been exploring in Nevada. The soil samples tell us that there's still oil on this site. It was drilled in the 50s and 60s. They thought that it went dry, and they had yet to be able to find where that oil was in this area. So we brought our satellites over and we scanned. And you can see down on the left-hand side in the green area was the chambers that they had drilled back in the 50s and 60s. The pink were the chambers of oil that they had no idea existed. We discovered a 20 million barrel of oil chamber, enough oil to extract 5,000 barrels of oil every single day. From that point, you can imagine word started getting out. We started having more and more people call us. So this is a farm in Nebraska. It's a 5,000 acre farm. I want you to imagine this for a moment. So, I had a chance to be able to visit this and to be able to do some videos. Maybe some of you have seen them, just to bring validation to our products. So I'm driving in the middle of Nebraska, and I mean, just farmland as far as the eye could see. And I want you to imagine, just off of the distance, all of a sudden you see an American flag that's kind of just off on the horizon, a very small flag. And as you get a little closer, it gets a little bigger. And as you drive a little closer, and you start to see this rig. And as you get up next to it, you realize how massive this operation really is. Now, the gentleman who owns this farm had been mining here for the last, or he had been looking for oil on this property for the last 10 years. He had partnered with 2 different exploratory companies, and they were yet to be able to find the oil or tap into the oil. We brought our scan technology in, we brought our satellites in and scanned, and we found 17 different targets. We started with the largest. We told them that they would find that oil right at about 7,200 feet. And at 7,260 feet, we hit oil. Not only did we strike oil, but we realized that there was a larger chamber, much larger chamber down below at about 9,000 feet, which is why they brought in now one of the largest rigs in the world to be able to get down to those depths. Since then, we've now tapped into a chamber of oil that has, it's 1,600 acres. To put this into perspective, the amount of natural gas that's there alone is worth $1.7 trillion. The gentleman down in the blue here is standing around where the oil comes out. When you're on the actual site, the OSHA requires them to cap it, so they can't drill while you're there. And he's telling the story. He says, I've been involved in this industry for 40 years as an engineer, and I have run some of the largest, or some of the sites for some of the largest exploratory companies in the world. And he said, I retired, and I got a call from an engineer who was telling me about this scan technology. And I flat out told him, I don't believe you. He had some different words. He says, you're full of what. He says, there's no possible way that you can locate oil with a satellite in space, because they've used the same seismic reading technology for the last 50 years. It hasn't changed, and it's not very accurate. And he says, I'll tell you what, you prove to me that this works, and I'll come out of retirement and I'll run your site. Well, he's here running our site. He said he's never seen anything like it. And the efficiencies that this technology provides, from an eco-friendly standpoint, the preventing the need to go out and drill hole after hole after hole is unbelievable. And he said, this is absolutely the most disruptive technology that we have seen inside of this industry since it started. And I want to just play just a little quick 40-second clip for you, just so you can get kind of a feel of being a part of it and being here.
So this is the largest oil drill that you can buy. These are the same ones that Exxon and the big oil giants are using to drill down. And it runs 24 hours, has 18 people, 12-hour shifts, they're rotating. And I don't know if you can see it yet, but right on the side there, you can see the black gold DGLD, baby. And this is just one of the projects that is backed, or that is the crypto project that's backed by real world commodities. It's just incredible to see.
I have a lot of people that I ask the same question over and over. Why did you choose to get involved with us? And every single time they say, because it's actually backed by something real. For example, our Grow token. I love this project. This particular project is backed by high yielding agriculture, and it has a very, humanitarian aspect to it. In Ghana alone, our projects now help employ over 10,000 people. We're truly making a difference in the world, not just from a technology standpoint, but just within these projects. We help empower through our co-ops these villagers and these farmers to be able to go out and to be able to feed their families and to be able to produce things like cocoa, for example. Cocoa is Ghana's responsible for 12% of the export of cocoa. And so, of course, that is, translates into cocoa paste or cocoa beans or cocoa powder, or my favorite, chocolate or cocoa butter. So there's a lot of different uses. And what we've done now is we now have over 5,000 acres of crops, which of course employs a lot of people. While I was there, I had a chance to be able to go into a village. We took a 2-hour flight and then a bus ride for another couple of hours into this remote village And, one of the things that you do when you're there is you go pay respects to the chief, who's responsible for the safety of his people. And so we wanted to pay our respects. And so we stopped in the village, and, there was a handful of the people that were there with us that had a chance to be able to go and meet with the chief. And, you go into these humble surroundings, and in his home made of clay and thatch roof, there he is, and he's sitting up a little bit higher elevated than his council that's below him. And then of course this translator was there, and our translator was there. So imagine us saying something to our translator, then they say something to their translator, who says something to the debt council, who then speaks to the chief, because you don't speak directly to the chief. Then he responds, and it goes back through his counsel to a translator, to another translator, and back to us. And he says, I love seeing you here. That means that there's progress. And I just want you to know the good that you are doing here for our people. He says, I actually want to award you. I want to give you and donate an additional 10,000 acres of land. And to be able to be a part of that, and to see not just the opportunity side, but the humanitarian side, was really, really impactful for me. And I know the others that were there. The aluminum project is another one that I'm a big fan of. Again, it's simple supply and demand. Go look at the demand for aluminum right now. It's in everything. You can't, there's so many things that are backed up because of these chips that they can't get, right? We had a large Costco store that opened recently here that sat there for 5 months because they couldn't get the chips to put into the registers to be able to open the store. There's a shortage of all kinds of vehicles right now because they can't get the chips that they need. Aluminum is in such high demand right now. We've partnered with one of the largest aluminum companies in the world, and our overall objective is to help them to be able to increase their production, help them with their efficiency. And this is the actual site. You can see here at the top, this is hundreds of these large trucks come in and out of this site all day long. This is a huge mound of bauxite, which is a clay that's converted to aluminum. And we have been, in this particular project, the Ghana Bauxite Corporation has been drilling hill number 2 for 10 years. People say to me, well, how long will this go on? Well, this particular project alone, we've helped 7x their production since we partnered with them towards the end of last summer going into the fall. And they have 5 different hills. There's enough here just in these hills to mine for the next 100 years. So I really like this particular project. This one came out approximately 4 or 5 months ago. Another thing that I want to touch on for a moment is people always say, well, how do I know you're different? I've seen some of these companies shut down. In retrospect and looking back, there were signs. A lot of these companies are talking about what we're going to do. Well, we're not talking about what we're going to do. We're talking about what we're already doing. Our projects are already launched. Every single one of our projects is already listed on exchanges, except for our 2 newest projects that were just introduced a couple of weeks ago. And those will be hitting an exchange here over the course of the next 30 days. So our utility token is a token called debt. Now, what does that mean, utility token? When you launch a project, you have to pair it with another coin so that it's easy to liquidate. And so we were initially paired to BNB, which is Binance. All of our projects initially were paired to Binance, the BNB coin. Unfortunately, what was happening is the market was going down and BNB was losing so much value, it was actually pulling the value of black gold down. So we actually launched our own utility token called debt. We launched it at a penny, and it just hit its all-time high a few weeks ago at $40. It's hovering right at around $25, $26 right now. And debt is listed on PancakeSwap, Bitmart, LBank, which is one of the top 15 exchanges in the world, BitTrue, just to name a few. And we will hit Binance this year, which is a big deal since Binance is one of the largest exchanges that's in the world. Now, some of you may be saying to yourselves, well, I can't afford a license right now. We also offer rentals. So in markets like India or Africa or some markets in Latin America, this is a great way to get started accumulating tokens and coins and be able to maximize from a dollar standpoint the ability to be able to do that. So for $250, you can rent a license for a period of 60 days. During that period, the license will be dropped into your wallet, your debt back office, and it will produce tokens which go into your wallet, and those tokens are yours to keep. So if you do that enough times, you now have enough tokens to essentially now go buy a license. So it's a great stepping stone, and it's a great building block. A lot of the markets that are doing exceptionally well, like India, what they do is they typically come in and get started on a membership, and then they buy a rental. and they teach everybody to do the same thing. And they just duplicate that over and over again. Go get 3, they do the same thing, and now yours is paid for on a monthly basis. And you teach those 3 to go get 3, you're now earning $500 a month. And so it's a very simple duplication system. And so the rentals are available. We have different projects that are available at any given time in the back office of IXglobal. You can check and see what's available. We also have a new project that's going to be introduced here very soon that solves one of the biggest problems in the cryptocurrency space, which is the barrier of entry. First of all, you're fighting banks that, they don't want you to go to crypto. Why? Because it takes money out of their pocket. So you have big banks here in the United States, banks like Chase, US Bank, that will literally close your account if they know that you're buying cryptocurrency, which is crazy. It's your money and they're telling you where you can spend it. And so what we're doing is we partner with the Bank of Scotland and also MasterCard to build an entire ecosystem that allows you to be able to transfer your money from your bank account to the Bank of Scotland. That is also going to be your bank account that you will open. You'll be given a digital card, a plastic card, a metal card, or an exclusive card. There's different levels depending on what you want. And you can now use your card against the balances that you currently have in your account, as well as convert it very simply into cryptocurrency. Some of these exchanges are so difficult to go, you got to go through the KYC process, and then you got to wire funds, and then it takes, an extended period of time before those funds are available. And here you don't have to do that. And so this is something else that we're introducing in the next couple of weeks. We have an amazing community. I always say that when community and culture align, that's when momentum occurs. We have these wonderful events that happen all over the world. We just wrapped one up in Bali. We have another one coming up at the Dominican Republic, where we come together as a community. You can qualify for these trips and to be able to go and rub shoulders with the other leaders in the company. And that's the thing that's great about this, is that you by getting involved with IXglobal, it's not just the education, it's the community and the mentors that are there to be able to really spoon feed you the critical knowledge that you need to start learning about this industry and about capitalizing and acquiring income producing assets. This was in Barcelona just a few months ago, back in the late last year, a wonderful trip that we had a chance to go to. The next one again will be in the Dominican. 2022, $206 million in sales. Success leaves clues. That's all I'll say. Success leaves clues. And our goal this year is 500 million. Momentum ranks, if you go to Business for Home, we're listed as the #1 momentum company in the entire world. And we also have some of the top earners in the world, including the #1 earner in all of network marketing, Viraj Patel, who is earning $1.2 million per month. And if this is any indication, if you were to go here to Business for Home, click on top earners, and then type in IXglobal, you're going to see that 119 of our members are among the top earners in the world of network marketing, which is unheard of, to have over 100 of the top earners in the entire world currently in our company. Why? Because we have a product that people are looking for. One of the coolest things about our opportunity, and by the way, I want to point out that you don't have to be involved in the opportunity. If you just want to simply buy licenses and accumulate your tokens, you can do that. You can do that. You basically buy a wholesale license from IXglobal. It gets activated with debt. Debt is now paying you. Even if something were to happen to IXglobal, it doesn't matter, because your smart contract is with debt. And debt, and you have your wallet, and your tokens will continue to come into your wallet. But what's really neat about the opportunity side is this is one of the only companies that I know that offers really a guaranteed income once you hit a certain rank every single week. And the ranks start off relatively low right at the beginning stages. You hit builder, you're earning $87 a week. You hit producers, $200 a week. And these are guaranteed incomes. And this is only one of the ways that you can generate income here. And I can tell you that people are coming from around the world here because of this. We also have team commissions, where you can earn not just on your own efforts, but the collective efforts of everyone else. You've heard the saying, I'd rather get paid 1% of 100 people's efforts versus 100% of my own. It's called leverage. And what's great about this is that because of the timing of where we are right now, guys, we really just launched in the United States 7 months ago. X nodes are only 7 months old. Some of your markets are just getting started. And it's, I always hear, sometimes I hear people out there say, yeah, timing's not very important. It doesn't really matter. And it's usually somebody that's with a company that's 20 years old. I'm going to tell you something. I'd rather be first than last. I don't know if you've ever been to a place like Disneyland, but I'd rather be at the front of the line than the back of the line. And so you have a chance to be able to secure a position. You can do that for as little as $50, lock in your position, and you can now start generating income here with IXglobal. You got a few different options and ways that you can get started. Our basic option is $50, which allows you to be able to participate in the basic elements of our compensation plan. We call that the WE package. Then we have our basic, which is $115, which allows you to qualify for the fullness of the compensation plan. And then we have our Pro, which allows you to be able to not only have access to our X nodes and our educational platform, our academy that has all kinds of amazing information and courses that are in there, but it allows you to access our trading platform and our trading signals as well. So you've got some different options and ways to get started. It doesn't matter how you get started. The only thing that matters is that you get started. From there, the next step is buy a node. Why? Because you don't have to be an expert at cryptocurrency to be successful at building a business here. I'm going to say that again. You do not have to be an expert to be successful at building a business here. The only thing that you need is to be able to be excited about the rewards that you're receiving every day. It's not about the words that you say. It's how you sing the song. When I first started, I didn't have all the answers. But what I did have was I had the excitement for the fact that I had this app that I could open up and in real time see tokens being deposited into my account. And people would say to me, how does that work? I say, man, listen, I don't know about that, but what I do know is I'm getting paid every day, but I can send you a presentation that explains it a lot better than I can. And that is how it works. Now, if you can't buy a node, then rent a node. You can rent a node, and we've got some different licenses that are available. We've got some of our licenses are now sold out, but we've got some new projects that are on the horizon that have just been introduced. Grow is still available. We've got digitally linked gold and aluminum and Explorer and beverage and blocks are our two newest projects that are literally weeks old. You know, that is the best time to get involved. Why? Because it's the lowest price point of the license. It'll never be that low again. Because over time, as the licenses sell, the value of those licenses goes up, the price of those licenses go up. And so you can get in at the very beginning at the lowest price points when those licenses or those nodes are paying out the most amount of rewards. Why does that matter? Because it's about accumulation. In a down market, it's not about price. I don't care about the price today. What I care about is accumulation. Why? Because he who or she who accumulates the most amount of tokens in a down market is going to win in the next bull run. It's very simple. And so this allows you, I have become a collector of licenses. Some people collect silver, some people collect gold. I collect mining licenses, income producing assets. And with every license that I buy, the amount of tokens that I generate goes up every single day, which translates to passive residual income. Passive income, ladies and gentlemen, is the key to getting back your time freedom, to be able to do the things that you want to do rather than the things that you have to do. Passive income is absolutely priceless, because what's more priceless than your time? It's the most valuable commodity on the planet. What's more priceless than the time that you can spend with your family? We have the ability with this opportunity to be able to go out and change the world. And I invite each and every one of you to take a very close look at this and to come and join us, because we're having a lot of fun. Boomy's having a lot of fun. Steven's having a lot of fun. I know a lot of the team members that are on here today. You know, listen, we are going to take this around the world. And you have the chance to be a part of it here and now. And so with that, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for being here with me today. I want to say thank you to Steven and for inviting me, and Boomy for the wonderful introduction today. And with that, I'm going to kick it back over to you, Boomy. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. I'm sitting here feeling like a kid on Christmas Eve. That's the feeling that you've given me today, Travis. And I'm sure everyone on here is so excited. I'm like, if I wasn't in, literally, I'd be like, okay, I cannot miss this. Please, I need to sign up. Ladies and gentlemen, do you see what the person who referred you to this information was talking about when we said we have something uncommon that you cannot let slip through your fingers? Every time I hear Travis deliver this, it's just like, it does something in my soul, Travis. I am so grateful to God that this was brought to you, that you shared this with my sponsor, Cedric, and he brought this to me. This feeling of gratitude just doesn't go away. Stephen thanks me all the time. And ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be thanking the person who shared this with you. But the biggest thing about life, guys, the biggest thing in life is taking action. We heard this information, and Travis was so gracious to, in all that he does, to say, I'm going to pour into my Africa team today. I'm going to stop and I'm going to present to you all and show you that I'm here for you, that I care for you. And we do not take that for granted, Travis. We are so grateful because everyone loves Travis, guys. Everyone in the company loves Travis. So we appreciate you so much. So today on this IX Africa call for our team, the big group, we have Nigeria represented, we have Uganda represented, Namibia, South Africa, we have Lesotho, we have also Ghana, and then even outside of Africa, we have the UK on here, United States of America, Canada, and even South America. What does that mean? Our team is exploding, but we've just gotten started. As Travis said, we are at the beginning of something absolutely epic. And so we need to think bigger, faster, as he said. And we need to help you expand because we want you sitting on top of a heap of 100,000 members on your team. Let's think that big. Let's think that big, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to turn this back to Stephen. Well, first of all, guys, can we in the chat thank Travis, please? Can we please show him some love and our appreciation and our utmost gratitude in this chat, letting him know that we are just grateful for him showing up with us today. Travis, people were saying like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I'm learning so much. This is so awesome. So again, we appreciate you and so glad to be a part of your team. So I'm going to turn this back to Stephen as he wraps up with some things that are personal for Africa. Stephen, I'm going to turn it back to you. Just want everyone to know we do this Zoom. We've been doing it every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Nigeria time for about the last 10 weeks, I believe. We committed to a run of 12 weeks in a row. We've got 2 more to go. So afterwards, I'll probably hand this off to Stephen or Lady A and Desmond and Scott, some others of the leaders out there, Noah, whoever, if they decide to continue. But we have live meetings, various places in Nigeria. We've got this online meeting. Stephen has a group on WhatsApp. You want to get into the group if you are have a heart for the Africa market. He does presentations several times a week in the IX Africa group for our team. So Stephen, with that, the floor is yours to speak to the people and close us out.
All right, thank you so much, Madam Bumi. Thank you very much, Mr. Travis. If you're on this call this evening, you are very lucky because sometime last year.
I will mute everyone and then you can unmute again.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Go ahead and unmute again. Okay, Stephen, unmute.
Oh.
Okay, we can hear you.
Madam Bumi, am I on?
Yes, you're on now.
Okay. I couldn't sleep for 2 nights after Travis spoke, and that's the same opportunity you have now. This is like a cheat code to wealth. It's like a cheat code to wealth. If you've been praying to God that, God, how can I get out of the depressed financial situation? This is the answer, but God is not going to come down from heaven to give you money. He has given you the opportunity, the information that you need to become wealthy. It's left for you to take action. And one thing with this opportunity is the more you stay back, you want to verify this and that, the more you lose out on it. So please, whoever got you on this call, go back and thank the person first. I don't just want you to join. Go back and thank the person. Then immediately get your link and join, because if you don't, the tokens reduces every day. That is what I want you to know. So the earlier you join, the more tokens you accumulate. But if you postpone your joining, because sooner or later you will join, because when you see that this is getting value, this is getting the acceptance it needs, you will now hurry to join. Maybe by that time you would say, how I wish. So that is what I don't want you to say. As you get off this call, please, whoever invited you, ask for the link, get registered with the company and buy your nodes. Thank you so much. If you want to say or hear some more things, you join our WhatsApp group. We share a whole lot of information on a daily basis. Thank you very much, Madam Bumi, for this opportunity. I'm grateful and always will be grateful. Thank you so much. God bless.
God bless you all. Let's unmute so we can all say good night to one another. Thank you so much for joining us. We are a family. Welcome to the family, guys. We've got the best thing we've ever been a part of, and I look forward to your massive success. So everyone say good night, and
Good night.
Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night.
Love you
Thank
all.
you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for joining us.
Thank you.
Get started.
Good
Thank
night.
you. Thank you,
Night.
Boone. Thank you,
You're
Travis.
welcome.
Bye-bye.
Let's go. I'm so excited. I can't stand it.
Yes. Yeah. Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Same size. You hear that?
Congratulations to all you leaders who are ranking up. Congratulations to everyone. You're doing a great job. Congratulations, Noah. All right. This call is officially over. Reach out for the recording. Good night, everyone.
I think that's supposed to be